This is a book I picked up at the library the other day. It's a guide to Korean characters, reading and writing Hangul and Hanja. Now, I've seen a lot of books like this for Japanese, where they kind of go, and for Chinese, I suppose, where they go through each character, and they give you some sample vocabulary and how to pronounce it. Well, this is the first one I've kind of seen for Korean, and so I kind of wanted to go through and show it. Now, in the beginning here, they talk about the Korean writing system. They refer to it as a member of the Altaic family, which has been debated, and how different it is from Chinese, although 60% of the vocabulary comes from Chinese. They talk about the development of Hangul in 1440, promulgated in 1446, because it was felt that Chinese characters weren't suitable for Korean. So they talk about here that literate Koreans wrote one language, classical Chinese, and spoke another Korean until the dawn of the 20th century. So even though there's Hangul, which is a very simplified alphabet, since 1972, 1,800 Sino-Korean characters, Hanja, are taught in the school. So this book goes through those 1,800, talks about the different kinds of characters, and how to learn Hanja. If you've learned Chinese characters or Japanese characters, it's basically the same thing. It's a lot of memorization and practice. So what I'm doing here, since I already have a good foundation in Japanese, I'm reviewing these characters. I'm going through this book, about 30 characters a day of practice. And I try to pick out one vocabulary word per character, and think about what it is in Japanese, and kind of build my vocabulary in this way. So for example, this is a one-stroke character. In Japanese it would be ichi or hitotsu. In Korean it's han, would be the Korean way to say it, and il would be the Chinese pronunciation. So this would be what would be used when they're in combination. For example, this is ilban, general, all, whole, alike. In Japanese, this is ippan. So they take the same derivation. So I wanted to show a couple other examples. For example, here is the character for water. The Korean word for it is 물. The Chinese reading is su. So you have the same distinction in Japanese as well. For water, the Japanese word is mizu, which is very close to 물, and the Chinese reading in Japanese is sui, not su. So an example is hydrogen. In Korean, it's suso. In Japanese, it's suiso. Okay. Another example would be this one, to go, or here they define it as walk, do, action, behavior. The Korean reading, when it's a verb, is kalda, to go. Kalda. In Japanese, it's iku. But the Chinese reading is different in Korean and also different in Japanese. In Korean, the Chinese reading is heng. So for example, for behavior or conduct or movement, you get something like this, which is 행동. In Japanese, the Chinese reading is ko, so this character would be kodo. So 행동, kodo. Another example. Okay, here's a good one here. The character for T. This is a 10-stroke character. Basically, in most parts of the world, tea is referred to as cha. The same thing in Korean, the Korean reading here. Now here you see they have cha is also a reading for Chinese, because in Chinese this is cha. Second tone, I believe. And the but another way that this is referred to is ta. So you get something like this: a tea room. In Korea, is called a tabang. Tabang. Okay. Another example. This is a 15-stroke character for pleasure, pleased, enjoyment. Music, delight. You see, this one's complex. It has, depending on the actual meaning, there's different Chinese readings of it. Rak, ak, yo, and then different Korean words here. So, 즐길, 풍류, 좋아할. That's kind of like to like. Okay, but for example, to just take this one here, musical instrument. In Korean, it's akki, akki. In Japanese, it's gakki, gakki, gakuki, gakki. And actually, this is a little bit more complex. The character is actually more complex. And in Japanese, you write this character like this. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's an 11-stroke character in Japanese. This is a little bit more complex, more like original Chinese, I guess. Okay, another one. Oh, okay, this is the last example I want to show, is this character here. For learning. So in the Korean reading for learning is peu, but the Chinese reading for learning is hak. In Japanese, the Japanese reading for this is manabu, but the Chinese reading is gaku, so it's close here. Okay, so for example, like this here, this is student, pupil. In Korean, this is hakuseng, hakuseng. In Japanese, this would be gakusei, gakusei. And like the other one, this is a much more simple character in Japanese. In Japanese, this is it's just like this, gaku. Yeah, gaku. So this is this book, and that's pretty much all I wanted to show.